Wrong.
Yeah.
Shall I go?
Yeah, go for it, mate.
Hi, welcome everyone. Welcome to video number 4. If you're still watching, thank you very much. If it's your first one, welcome. Hope you enjoy it as much as everyone else is. Basically mine and Pete's parents.
My dad don't watch that.
No, true, yeah. No one's watching these.
Yeah.
But today we're gonna talk about basically stuff we've got wrong. Been in the industry a while, try to learn as much as possible. The more you learn, the more you realise you're getting stuff wrong, or you actually know nothing. I think it's best Pete starts this because I've got quite a long list.
Yeah.
So I'll hand over to my partner in crime, Mr. Pete Crawshaw. Enjoy.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I think Scott covered it there. I think ignorance is bliss. The younger you are and naive you are, you just go with the first things you know and you swear by it. And I definitely did that growing up. I spent a fortune, an absolute ton of money on stuff I don't need. I read articles that were nonsense. I told people to do things that were nonsense. And this was all way before I was ever a personal trainer. I've told people nonsense since I've been a personal trainer. I'll openly admit. The problem with educating yourself is, as you said, you educate yourself past the point that you knew before, otherwise there's no point educating yourself. So eventually you prove yourself wrong. And that's the whole point of doing what we do. We spoke briefly about our qualifications and things. The personal trainer course teaches you very little. Since then we've learned a lot more in-depth stuff, so we can rubbish a lot of what we used to know. But I'm going to take it back quite a while. Scott put a post up. Was it last week you put the post about things you've done wrong?
Yeah.
And in the comment mentioned the supplement, and I'd taken the same supplement, and this thing was...
Steroids.
Yeah, it was steroids. Well, in my eyes it was steroids at the time. It was made by Muscle, and it was a little bottle with a pipette in the top, and you used to drop it under your tongue and it tasted like
shit.
You know, yeah, it was awful. And they were 55 quid a bottle. And I was taking a bottle of that. I was on, do you remember Tribulus?
Yeah.
I was on that, creatine, protein, Cyclone. So I basically, me and my mates, we used to get a delivery from Muscle once a month. And I think I spent about 150 quid a month on supplements and about 200 quid on food. I didn't have a clue what I was doing. But I was reading Flex magazine, I was reading every article that I could that would contradict, but instead of realising that they were contradicting, I just did them all. So I just did absolutely everything. I ate every type of food that could possibly help. This is when I was trying to get a lot bigger from the skinny kid that joined the RAF. And I did everything. I did absolutely the lot. So I'd spend about 350 quid a month on trying to make myself bigger. Probably the 200 quid I was spending on food was more than enough. Completely more than enough.
Yeah.
I was in the RF, so I was still eating in a mess as well. So I had food cooked to me 3 times a day, and I was still eating all that. I was getting up in the night to eat. I was eating 6 eggs for my breakfast, taking one of these shots underneath it, and making a shake up. I remember Lee Walker sometimes watches these. Me and Lee, we used to live in the same barracks, and sometimes I'd go around to his room and he'd have made like 20 eggs. And we'd sit there, and neither of us liked eggs. We'd sit and just cram eggs into our face, gagging as we were doing it, pouring chili powder on them to try and get rid of the taste. And then have these shakes and these magic supplements that went underneath it. And it was only when I started to read more, I realised I'd absolutely wasted a fortune of money. Like if I'd have put that away now, I'd probably own my own gym. It was that much sort of money. All from just trying to do everything rather than actually learning what I needed to do and going ahead with it.
I wasn't actually expecting Pete to say half of this, so maybe I should have gone first. But yeah, I think Pete hit the nail on the head in that you read all these magazines and half the time, well, not even from one issue to the next, they contradict themselves in the same magazine, and you're reading it and everything, all the supplements have these special powers, and you think, oh, I'll try that this month, and then you probably do it for 2 or 3 weeks and realise, well, you don't realise it's not working, you just haven't given it long enough. Well, it probably don't work anyway, but you're impatient, you give something 2 weeks and then see another shiny bottle and you go and buy that, and it's probably, well, still now with everyone that comes to us, it's happening to everyone. Everyone's still falling for the same trick. Now, well, I don't think me and Pete, you can list the name of supplements on one hand.
No, easy.
But yeah, I've gone off track a bit. What was I going to say? Do you want to say some more?
Yeah. There's people that come to us still now, and I saw a very good post about it the other day, and it was saying that basically if things sound too good to be true, they generally are.
Yeah.
I think we both learned the hard way. I said we're a little bit older than we'd like to admit, so the internet wasn't as readily available to us when we first started training. It was all magazines.
Yeah.
And the old bodybuilding books, Arnold Schwarzenegger's bodybuilding encyclopedia.
Well, that's how old we are. We keep talking about magazines rather than the internet.
Yeah, we actually used to go to the shop and buy stuff.
Yeah.
But they would tell you different stuff every week, and rather than realising that it was because it was all just to sell new magazines, I think I'd tried every single one of them. But people are still doing it now.
Yeah, and well, maybe not with my clients, because I'm dealing with a lot of just generally overweight, fat loss clients, so supplements aren't really high on their agenda really. But
Have they tried the teas and coffees and
no, I don't get that often anymore, because I think a lot of people that come to me now sort of know me anyway, and I'm going to tell them most things are bullshit anyway. So I presume some of them are scared of asking, but especially with things like my 6-week shred, and when I'm dealing with blokes wanting to build muscle, one of their first questions is, what supplement should I take? And you can argue whey protein isn't a supplement, it's just a food source. Apart from that and creatine, for actually building muscle, that's really it. And getting your protein right. I mentioned when I was speaking about my competition, I didn't use any supplements. I wasn't even using whey protein. I think I threw fish oils in at the end just because I was panicking about my health, but there wasn't any scientific reason for adding that in. They are a very good supplement, and probably a lot of people should be using them. But yeah, it's if you take the amount of money you spend on supplements and actually spend it on some food, your result, well, or even education, your results will be 10 times better. It's a big marketing con to a degree. Like I said, there are some good ones. I'm actually going to be writing a blog hopefully this afternoon on a specific marketing blog, but that can come later on. But what sort of mistakes have you made as a personal trainer then, since you've been qualified?
I think the big one's nutrition.
Yeah.
I think when I first got into the industry, it was a case of, and through your PT course, nutrition plays a very small part as you learn through it. It's like the good food plate.
Covers nothing. You're
like, right, we'll go through, this is a carb, this is a fat, and that's about it. There's not a great deal that goes into it. So when you come into industry, you're basically going, right, if I train people, then the food will take care of itself. Just tell them to eat clean. Say, if you eat natural food, it'd be fine. And I did do research my own, but I kind of followed the wrong guys. It's only when you learn a bit more scientifically. I used to follow Mike Dolce quite a lot, who's famous for making UFC fighters make weight. Some of his ideas are great. Some of them are designed to sell his products. And you fall into that trap quite quickly. And it becomes very obvious the more research you do. I think, I used to talk a lot about not all calories being equal and eating things, if you just clean up your diet, everything will be better, and no idea of counting macros or calories, and I never even used to mention any of that. I never used to hardly weigh my clients, even weight loss ones. I used to come in because people are always told, basically don't reflect the scales and all this stuff, and the scales aren't always a true reflection, which they're not. Things can fluctuate, but they're a pretty good guide. And it sounds stupid now when you say someone comes to you for weight loss if you don't weigh them.
Yeah.
And I just don't see how we're making progress.
Yeah, because, well, just touching on that, if you're 4'2" and you're 18 stone, you need to lose weight. It's as simple as that, and you could be putting a load of muscle on. That the scales still need to be coming down. So obviously they're not the only thing you should be worried about, which is why we take measurements, which is why we take pictures, go by the clothes you're wearing. But even for someone who's very ripped, if you're losing body fat, more often than not the scales will come down. So, well, I'll go on to a few of my cock-ups then, because I sort of came into the industry a bit sooner than Pete. The evidence-based scientific crowd, if you like, that is quite fashionable and well known now, it wasn't really there. So like Pete said, you get qualified and you try and learn as much as possible. So you're on Google, which is probably the worst place to start, but you're on Google and you're on YouTube, which is even worse than Google. But
unless you're watching this.
Yeah, unless you're watching this. But you just try and learn as much as possible. You get attracted to people with big followings, which, there are some good people about, but there's also some complete idiots, and people can get great results. That's the other thing, you get attracted to the people getting great results in your field. So, my interest has always been in fat loss and, to a lesser degree, body transformations, which I'm sort of venturing a bit more towards now. So you look at people getting them kind of results, but you look at Herbalife reps and people like that, they're getting good results despite telling people complete nonsense. So you get sucked into the message they're saying and their methods. Now, I'm all for people having their own method, but it's when they start telling you it's the only way, and what they're telling you is designed around selling their methods, or even worse, selling some kind of product. And that's probably what I got sucked into a bit. Like the low carb or even zero carb thing was very fashionable at that time, which, let's be honest, with most fat loss clients, their carbohydrates will be low because their calorie intake has to be lower. But it's not the only method for losing weight. Even the first nutritional course I did, Precision Nutrition, it's very respected. It's still very respected now. Their main fat loss message was only have carbs after a workout. That may have changed. It was 2 or 3 years ago that I did it now, but their main message was no carbs until after your workout. Now I now know that you can have that carb meal whenever you want. You can have 2 carb meals, as long as the numbers add up at the end of the day, then everything's fine. That may still even work for some people. I still think it's quite a good idea for bringing your overall calorie intake down. After your workout, it's a very good time to have your carbs. But people need to be aware of, it doesn't have to work like that, and if you prefer them somewhere else, you can have them somewhere else. So there was that message I was giving out. I still got some very good results in the early days, despite telling people what is now probably some bad advice. But it also prevented me from getting some results. I remember one client in particular, her food diary was very clean. If you looked at it, it looked a perfect diet, but she wasn't losing any body fat. Anti-sugar was a message around then, and I was looking at trying to cut out bits of fruit. There was hardly any fruit in there, and I didn't really know what to do. Now looking back now, all I had to say was, this a very good food diary, the structure's very good, we just need to adjust the intake and the overall calories a bit, and this is how we do it by adjusting this and that. At the time, because I didn't really know about calories, and to a degree, there was also a message of calories don't matter as well, which is probably the worst message you can give out. So rather than looking at calories, I was looking at things that weren't there. But yeah, over time you educate yourself, you start to find the right people, the people giving the right message, and you realise you've just been talking nonsense for a few years and you're an idiot.
Yeah, it's a tough pill to swallow sometimes when you realise you're wrong. Like Scott said about the carbs after a meal and things like that, a lot of these work because they play on people's behaviours. If you restrict people massively, you can kind of blindly get through things, which is what a lot of stuff we hope you all know is nonsense now, like carbs after 6 p.m. and things like that. Like they were all spread around for ages, and I mean the whole no carbs before marbs crew that came out and it became a thing, and everyone just stopped eating carbohydrate. We know now that's not it's not needed at all. But behaviourally, it cuts down everyone's calories, so it works for some people. And that's what I was saying about you getting the results and things like that. You speak to people all the time now, right? I'm on no carbs for 3 weeks. I've lost loads of weight. Great, yeah. But what do you do when you stop and you've no idea how to control your diet? You've no idea how to live a normal life. You're just going to put the weight back on and then lose it. So the education helps us give you a sustainable way of living and how to look at food and understand what you're doing with it and things like that. Whereas back then I didn't. I'd done the same. Looked at food diaries, not a clue. Not literally gone. Yeah, it looks really good. And you're like you've put on 2 pounds and you're like you eat better than me. I have no idea where to go from, because counting calories was frowned upon. When I first got into it, if you said I'm going to count my calories, it was like, oh no, this is really bad. And was it Weight Watchers and Slimming World and all those that basically tried to get people away from counting calories for so long, and then we come along and we realise that calories are pretty much the fundamental of all weight loss, and it's proven beyond any reasonable doubt.
Yeah, I mean,
it was hard to convince ourselves and other people.
Yeah, we're not sitting here saying you need to count calories, but they are the one thing that matters. There's ways of manipulating your calorie intake without actually sitting there and counting every drop. But if you're not losing weight, it's either down to the amount of calories you're taking in or the amount of exercise you're doing, or both. And it's just going back to what Pete was saying. I've been known to have we've both been known to have rants about things, and like we are nobodies in this industry to a degree. Our clients will hopefully think a bit different, but this video may get at best 50 views, and there's people, very, very big names, people who are educating other trainers, people who will be doing YouTube videos and getting thousands and thousands of views talking complete bullshit. Now, there's a few reasons they're doing that. One, the main one's money. They're making a lot of money from what they're saying, so they don't need to tell any different. And two, they don't want to admit they're wrong. They know they're wrong, but again, they're getting results. They have a massive following. They've got a lot of people blowing smoke up their arse, so they just keep going along with it. And that's the one thing that really winds me up at the moment, in that we continue to educate ourselves. We're trying to give out the right message. We're trying to be as honest as possible with people, which is why we're doing this video now, admitting everything we've done wrong. Yeah, there's these massive names, some with doctor in front of their names. There's people, right, here's one for you. There is a particular person funding studies. These studies are coming back, basically proving what his message is wrong, and he's still ignoring them studies. So
It's just ketogenic.
yeah, well, he's even funded another one, but now you know why we get a bit angry. I know it's because we're getting old and we're miserable, but it's not because we like being negative. We're passionate about what we're trying to tell people, and I'm not going to use that word. There's idiots out there spouting this stuff that are smarter than us, more successful than us, and sometimes you just sit back and think, what's going on?
And yeah, I think part of the reason why I wanted to open up to some mistakes and stuff as well is it's like it's all right to fall for this shit, because we're passionate about this stuff, and to get into the industry and to do what we do, we spend a lot of time looking into nutrition and training and things like that, and the people we follow on social media are all in that world, and we listen to podcasts and we read papers and we do studying, and we're not expecting you to do all that stuff. Like, that's what we're here for. And it's very easy to fall for the trap of going, a doctor said that this is thing. I know there was one arguing about that, Dr. Ross in America. Like, medical doctors don't know much about nutrition. It sounds crazy, but they don't get educated. They're not nutritional doctors. So don't just because you've got doctor in front, they're not the authority on everything. The big names will often have contradicting things, and they can't all be right. But you've got to figure out which ones are and which ones aren't. There's people who will take your money for anything straight away. These people who sell you all sorts. We bought drops we put under our tongue. Just let that sink in a minute. And we both did it. We didn't know each other back then. We didn't we both bought it from a big company because they could sell it and we would buy it. People buy supplements all the time. People buy training plans all the time. People follow diets all the time with no real idea of why. We did it, and we're passionate about what we do, and we researched it. Don't feel bad if you've gone down the wrong way. Just don't be too stubborn to try and learn the proper way. Because once you do, it's a lot easier. Like, life's a lot more simple. We speak about how simple a lot of our things are.
We're trying to save you money, basically.
Yeah. I don't want to see people spending £55 on stuff they put under the tongue.
To give to us.
Yeah, pay us instead. We'll tell you. We've done the mistakes many times, and then thankfully educated ourselves out of it. And in 10 years' time, there might be new information that comes out where we sit and do another one of these videos where little holograms that appear in your front room, where we admit that this was wrong. But at this time, this is the best educated information we can give you, because it's the best stuff that's out there. If new studies come along and they prove it wrong in years to come, we'll be the first to admit it, because we have no time for this. I'm not trying to sell you a product. I don't make any money off telling you the truth, apart from you just learn to trust me. That's the only way. I'm not trying to sell you a product. I'm not trying to sell you a book. I'm not trying to sell you a secret pill. We'll just try and find out the information and pass it on to you for free. That's what we do.
Yeah, and I mean, like Pete said, there's no shame in being wrong. We all want a quick answer, which is why we bought all that nonsense. We've learned that there isn't one, to a degree. We're probably looking for quick answers in trying to build our business and things like that. We'll probably fall for stuff in that kind of fit way than we will in the supplement kind of thing. But it's just, we don't want you to go away from here thinking we're saying don't trust anyone either.
There's tons of great advice out there.
You just need to be careful. There's a lot of agendas about, like I said, they're either trying to sell the message they're telling you. Really, a simple rule is, if they're telling you there's one way to do something, they're an idiot and they're trying to con you. So if they're saying you need to go ketogenic to lose weight and everything else is wrong, then you need to question that. And if they're saying you need to take this supplement for X, Y, Z, you need to question that, because more often than not, you can build muscle without creatine. Although creatine's very good and it's one of the few proven things to take, you can build muscle without creatine. So, yeah, if someone is saying you have to do this or you have to do that, more often than not you need to question it. And the amount of times I'm stood there in front of someone, especially on the gym floor, saying it depends and shrugging my shoulders, it's not a daily occurrence, but it's a weekly occurrence, and that person walks off thinking I'm an absolute idiot because I've not given them an exercise that will burn some belly fat, or I've not said, what's the best fat burning exercise, and I've just stood there and gone, oh well, it depends. Have you got 45 minutes? Well, not really, I've got about 20 seconds, just tell me to do something. And then he walks off thinking I'm a complete clown, but more often than not it does depend. So
yeah,
sorry.
Like we say there, if someone's trying to tell you one way, if anyone's trying to sell you something, if it says take this to get results, buy it from me, get rid of that person straight away, because they're robbing you straight away. That's normally a pretty good guideline. If it sounds too good to be true, normally is. The whole thing of getting in shape and staying in shape is pretty much a mundane process. It's reducing your calorie intake, like I say, or increasing it depending on your goal, and making your training fit accordingly. That's the secret to it. That's the big unveiling.
And while I mentioned exercise and training, one of the other things I did that was wrong in my early days was just think all fat loss clients had to do circuit training. So I had housewives who'd not trained in 20 years, first day in the gym, setting up some elaborate circuit of about 8 exercises and just going, right, bang, 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 bang. The poor girl would be on the floor, sweating, puffing and panting after about 5 minutes. And I soon realised, oh, hang on a minute, we need to, whether it's fat loss, strength training, the start point needs to be where you are. So rather than trying to impress a client, you've got to strip it all back, go back to the basics as we keep going on about, and then taking that client through a process, whether it's 4 weeks, 6 months, a year, rather than just saying, right, circuit training is the best thing for fat loss, which it isn't, but it is good. And then just taking them through a certain process. I'm sure there's some others I can't think of. I've done a load of cock-ups, but...
Yeah, loads. Do you want to list a few things that people shouldn't do? If you find yourself doing these things, stop and reconsider. If you're doing any exercise done on a BOSU ball, have a moment.
Stop that.
BOSU balls are designed to build instability, to make your joints better. So if you find yourself doing a kettlebell swing on it, stop there, get off. If you...
Taking something that will detox you.
Detox.
It's not. There you go. I think that cost me about 22 pence. If Aldi are watching, I'll get through quite a few of these, so if you can send some my way, that'd be great.
Setting our targets high.
Yeah, if someone can tag Aldi in this video. But yeah, if someone tells you something's going to detox you, they're complete idiots. If someone is telling you what you are eating, hang on a minute. So first, stand up.
Must be our longest one. We'll have to get the lights back.
Christ, the power's gone. Yeah, if someone... people go to even the extent of saying the foods you're eating are causing cancer, or what they are trying to sell you can cure cancer, not cure cancer but prevent it. They are probably nearest the lowest of the low. Go on, I could.
Someone tells you you're building muscle. The reason you're gaining weight is because you're building so much muscle. You're probably not.
Yeah.
You're probably gaining fat. If you're trying to lose weight and putting it on, you're consuming too many calories. People will try and sugarcoat that and say that you're building too much muscle. That's a good one. There's loads
because
of these things we see on a
even if you build
daily, weekly, and monthly basis.
even people who do actually build muscle, which especially if you're new to training, you will be building muscle. More often than not, your measurements will be coming down anyway. So yeah, sometimes people are just hiding the fact that they're not getting you results by telling you you're building muscle. Well, actually, while we're on about not getting results, the reason you employ a personal trainer is to get results. So if you're not getting results, either speak to them and make sure you are getting results, or get rid of them. Otherwise, you're just wasting money.
And even better, like I said about the not weighing people at the start, if no one's giving you any results to get, if you go to a weight loss person and they're not weighing you, how do you know if you're getting results? How do you know? Like, they'll fill your head with stuff and say, the industry's full of people who will just tell you, if they're not measuring you and weighing you, and you want weight loss, and they're relying on not taking pictures either, like what's quantifiable about your result? When you set goals, what is it, the SMART thing?
You're basically
you've got to set a goal.
You're paying someone to train you at the end of the day, and that's all you're getting. So if you're not getting any results or any way of measuring them results, you might as well just train on your own, I suppose.
Yeah.
What else?
We could go on for a long time here.
Well, no, just from a dieting point of view, to a degree, no diet's sustainable, because if you just diet and diet and diet, you will end up dead at some point. So, although you include foods you enjoy, don't cut out anything. Let's talk about hormones in a minute. Yeah,
oh, yes.
Don't cut anything out
this
unnecessarily. But yeah, think of habits, think of long-term changes, but you are not going to be on that diet forever. So sometimes it is good to cut things out or go without things, but just it needs to be in your head that mentally this isn't for the long term, and off the back of that diet you need to be able to react properly so you're not rebounding. And during that dieting phase you are actually learning something, which I suppose is where these meal replacement shakes and things like that, if you're just relying on something like that to lose weight without learning any habits, how to structure a meal, how to create a calorie deficit, that's where the issues come from on the back end of it. The meal replacement shakes and that diet, it's not messing your metabolism up, it's not putting you into starvation mode, it's not that that's causing the weight regain. It's just the lack of education and the lack of habits during that period that help you on the back end. So you go back to your old habits, and that's where the weight gain comes on.
If you truly learn to control your weight on the way down, you can learn to control it going back up a little bit.
Oh, that's lovely.
See that?
Yeah,
I'm having a t-shirt.
That's a t-shirt logo. That.
That'll go on there, won't it?
Yeah.
Excited.
On that chest.
Yes.
But
need to have small font.
Yeah, just hormones before. Shall we wrap up in a minute?
Yeah. I'm going to go into an insulin there.
If anyone mentions insulin, they don't really know what they're talking about. It's not insulin that's making you fat. Even if insulin is sky high in a calorie deficit, you will still lose weight. They've got no way of, well, there are ways of measuring your insulin. Most of the people talking about it aren't actually measuring it. Cortisol, if they start going on about that, again, cortisol rises in a calorie deficit and in a long-term diet. You will still lose body fat when cortisol is high. Should you manage it? Yes, by recovering well, by sleeping well, by eating well, but that is all you need to do. So if people start making things complicated by going on about insulin, going on about cortisol, if they ever mention cheat days helping leptin, they're idiots. They're either blind to the fact that they're lying to you, or in fairness, they may be where we were a few years ago and just not educated well enough. But if people are spouting that, that's something else you need to be careful of.
Yeah, they probably just read that chapter in a book.
Yeah.
They want to fire at you, and then they read the next chapter and go, oh hang on.
I wrote that book about 2 years ago.
Yeah. I've still not read it.
Right, I'll lend it to you.
Yeah. Yeah. There's plenty of fancy things marketed out there to try and get you to buy stuff, and we do want to come up. We all do make mistakes. We're not negative against the whole industry and stuff. There's plenty of great people out there. I mean, there's plenty of con artists, but there isn't any industry. If people are taking your money, there's cowboys and everything, mechanics, plumbers, electricians. It happens. Just we've opened these up for questions in the past. We're not getting a great deal through. If I'm honest, which I'm trying to be. Send them through. Like if you're unsure about something, send it through. We'll cover it. We'll say whether someone's talking absolute nonsense to you or not, and we'll say why. We'll research it first. We'll read the full chapters in the book, and we'll give you the actual reasons why what people are saying isn't true, or why it is working for a certain amount of time and isn't working for stuff like that. And if you're tempted to buy something, send us a little message. Like, feel free, just go, shall I buy these BCAAs? And my answer will be no. Should I buy this whey protein? Possibly. Like, there's some stuff that can benefit you, vitamin D, fish oils, creatine, we've covered a few of them, but it's not a plethora of supplements that you need. Most of them you can get from booze. If you have any questions at all, send them through. We enjoy doing these because it gets us in a different room for a bit, and then I've got an excuse to go and sit at Costa and use the Wi-Fi for 2 hours and upload them.
Yeah, so, by the way, these 30-minute videos take about 4 hours to upload, so don't just watch the first 2 minutes of them, please, because it really upsets us.
In caffeine.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, thanks for watching. If you are, if you're not, just me Scott talking to each other in a room while looking at a screen.
Good.
I mean, we only do this anyway downstairs, so might as well. Thanks a lot. I'm going to get that put on a t-shirt for the next one. And Aldi, we want some sponsorship. I'm a big Lidl fan, so if you get rivalry on the go. Speak to you all soon.
Thank you very much. Cheerio.
Deli Alley Wave for the end.
Fuck those.